is Force 13 Live. The current time is 11 o'clock on the East Coast, and what you're looking at is Hurricane Matthew. And it's hugging the East Coast of Florida. You know, I've been thinking for a while, and I wonder when the last time an M-name storm affected the coast of Florida. Must have been some time ago now, if it's ever happened at all. Anyway, that's just one little thought of mine. The storm is along the coast, and it's producing tropical storm force winds along the coast, and maybe even hurricane force wind speeds for some areas. Closest point to Daytona Beach right now. We don't have any webcams there, unfortunately, but it's not looking good at Daytona Beach. Mainly not just because of the storm and the wind speeds, but because of the potential flooding, and that potential will probably be realised before too long. So that's what the storm looks like there on the radar. You can see it along the coast and over the whole central and northern part of Florida. Let's see whether we've got any more news. Dames Point Bridge is closed, if anyone knows where that is, in the Jacksonville area, I believe. Dames Point Bridge is closed. But let me reiterate everything that's come out with the National Hurricane Center's update just now. So, at 11 a.m. it's at 29.4 degrees north, 80.5 degrees west. That's 35 miles east-northeast of Daytona Beach. That'll be its closest approach. We expect 95 miles southeast of Jacksonville. Its maximum sustained winds are 120 miles per hour. Present movement is north-northwest at 12 miles per hour and a minimum central pressure of 947 millibars. If you missed it, the hurricane warning has been extended northeastward to Surf City, North Carolina. The hurricane warning from Sebastian Inlet to Cocoa Beach has been changed to a tropical storm warning. The tropical storm warning south of Sebastian Inlet has been discontinued. The tropical storm warning and tropical storm watch along the west coast of Florida has been discontinued. West coast of Florida appears to be in the all clear. A tropical storm warning, though, has been issued from north of Surf City to Duck, North Carolina, including the Pamlico and Albemarle Sounds. A hurricane watch has been issued from Surf City to Cape Lookout in North Carolina. A hurricane warning is in effect for Cocoa Beach to Surf City. A hurricane watch is in effect for north of Surf City to Cape Lookout. A tropical storm warning is in effect for Sebastian Inlet to Cocoa Beach, north of Surf City to Duck, and Pamlico and Albemarle Sounds. And I'll just read out the discussion whilst for more information here. At 11 a.m, the eye of Hurricane Matthew is located near latitude 29.4 north, longitude 80.5 west. We know that. Matthew is moving towards the north-northwest at near 13 miles per hour, and this general motion is expected to continue today. A turn towards the north is expected tonight or Saturday. On the forecast track, the center of Matthew will continue to move near or over the coast of northeast Florida and Georgia through tonight, and near or over the coast of South Carolina on Saturday. Take note of the wording there, near or over. Maximum sustained winds are near 120 miles per hour, 195 kilometers an hour, with higher gusts. It's a Category 3 still at this point. Although weakening is forecast during the next 48 hours, Matthew is expected to remain a hurricane until it begins to move away from the United States on Sunday. Hurricane force winds extend outwards up to 60 miles from the center, and tropical storm force winds extend outwards up to 185 miles from the center. A wind gust of 69 miles per hour was recently reported at St. Augustine. The latest minimum central pressure reported by an Air Force Hurricane Hunter plane was 947 millibars, that's 27.97 inches. I'll read out the hazards. Hurricane and tropical storm conditions are expected to continue over the warning area in Florida today and spread northward within the warning area through Saturday. Residents in high-rise buildings should be aware that the winds at the top of a 30-story building will be, on average, about 1 Saffir-Simpson category higher than the winds near the surface. Tropical storm conditions are expected to first reach the tropical storm warning area in North Carolina on Saturday morning. As for storm surge, the combination of that, the tide, and large and destructive waves will cause normally dry areas near the coast to be flooded by rising waters moving inland from the shoreline. The water could reach the following heights above ground if the peak surge occurs at the time of high tide. Flagler Beach, Florida to Edisto Beach, South Carolina, including portions of the St. Johns River, it's 6 to 9 feet. Cocoa Beach to Flagler Beach, Florida, 4 to 6 feet. Edisto Beach, South Carolina to Cape Fear, North Carolina, 4 to 6 feet. Sebastian Inlet to Cocoa Beach, Florida, 2 to 4 feet. And Cape Fear to Salvo, North Carolina, including portions of the Pamlico and Albemarle Sounds, it's 2 to 4 feet. I'll let you know more information on that in just a moment, but right now there's the latest on the storm, and we have, I believe, we have some more visual that we'll be bringing to you shortly as well. But for now, just stay tuned with that image whilst I configure everything here. But that tornado warning, I believe, will have expired now. There was a tornado warning for Nassau County and Camden County. But that's the latest. At the moment, I'm trying to get something here, so bear with me if it sounds like I'm doing something else, which is quite true. But I just want to show you a quick view of I wanted to, but yes, there it is, of the situation at Jacksonville. That's the Jacksonville Beach Pier. That's what it looks like right now. Very rough waves and surf there, and we'll be watching that. Oh yes, there's the storm heading towards the northwest at this point, and we'll continue monitoring it as time goes on throughout today. And if we receive any news to bring to you, then obviously you'll be the first to know. That's the latest there from Jacksonville Beach. At the moment they're reporting a surf height of up to 4.6 meters, I believe, and the winds gusting to 45, I think, or is that, could be even higher, I'm not sure, but that was the latest there from Jacksonville. Let's take you back to the latest radar, which we'll get to again in a few moments. Quite difficult to do the whole show on my own, so I hope you'll realize that it will take a little while for certain things to happen. There's the latest radar. It's as if everyone else has gone on strike, but the reality of it is that no one else is actually here. It's just myself. So there's the storm. The latest radar imagery of it continuing towards the northwest, and yes, it is staying off the shore right now. But Jacksonville Beach, way up there, it could get a lot worse for that location yet. Let's take some questions if we've got any. I've not looked at those for some time. Let's see what we've got. People say nice things, we always like that, thank you. And I have no idea whether there are any other questions at this point or not. It doesn't appear that there are. But if you've got any questions, you can send them in right now. You can start your message with Force 13, and I'll try and give you some answers if you've got any questions. I know there'll be a lot of people asking about the same places as they were talking about yesterday. But of course, people do want to know. Rob asks Stephen whether he thinks South Carolina will get some damage. I'll respond to that as well. I think the storm surge in South Carolina again could be pretty significant. As far as wind speeds are concerned, hurricane force conditions are a possibility. But I think storm surge will be the biggest risk, and for the potential of flash flooding. People asking about... Okay, let's see. We don't know much about Daytona Beach right now. Lee Fraser says, do these typically die off to the east in colder water? Well, the fact of the matter right now is that the water temperatures are warm enough for the storm all the way to the Outer Banks of North Carolina, so it's certainly got the fuel, but it's going to be wind shear that is going to affect the storm adversely very soon. Towards the north, there's high amounts of wind shear that will shear the storm away. It says it in the name, really. And it will certainly weaken it substantially over the next few days, but it's not happening yet, so don't let your guard down yet. Could Matthew's trajectory change and the eye brush Jacksonville? It could, but it's somewhat unlikely right now. More questions, more updates actually. An update from Orlando, 40 to 50 mile an hour winds, strong gusts, but power staying strong. That's interesting to know, thank you. And we might have some news on power outages maybe, if I can get them to you. Let's see if there's any late news. Well, if not, I'll reiterate the news on the power outages. The last we knew, Miami-Dade County had 8,000 customers out of power. In Broward County, that's nearly 8,000. At Palm Beach County, it's 46,000, which is a little bit less than what it was earlier. Martin County, it's 43,000. That's almost half of all customers. In St. Lucie County, it's 39,000. That is around 1/4 of all customers. In Indian River County, it's 33,000. That's more than half. In Brevard County, it's 183,000. That is around 60%. In Volusia County, it's 130,000. That's around 70%. In Flagler County, it's 37,000. That's around half. In St. Johns County, 20,000. That's around 1/4. And in Duval County, none yet. But I think there's a glitch with that data. And in Clay County, 700 customers without power, and 2,400 in Putnam County. So if anyone's been keeping count, that's quite a high number. I didn't keep count, but if anyone else has, do let me know. 15,000 as well in Seminole County. That is around 1/4. And a further 1,000 in Okeechobee County as well. I've got news of a tweet that storm surge flooding is now beginning in Daytona Beach. So that's the latest from Daytona Beach. And apart from that, that's pretty much everything for now. Let's go through some more late warning situations as we get on towards 11:15 here. So the tornado warning expired, but there are some marine warnings that are occurring off the coast of Savannah right now, and that could expand inland with some severe thunderstorm warnings or worse. We'll watch out for that very closely in the next hour. But further south, it's looking like this right now. There are rip current statements for the whole of the coastlines that are no longer under tropical storm warnings for the majority. That is to say, it extends from Jupiter-ish all the way down to Homestead. And on the western coast, it's in the whole of Monroe County and the coastal Collier County. That's rip current statements there, I think, or it's either that or the beach hazard statement. It's one of the two, but it's all about the same stuff. And then the actual warnings. So tropical storm warnings now in effect, but they've been discontinued. Sorry, my voice is going. Discontinued for Stewart, Fort Pierce, and Vero Beach. Still in effect, interestingly, for the inland areas of Okeechobee and Sebring. You're still under warnings at this time. Tampa is out of a warning, but inland areas in that county still under a tropical storm watch. Palm Bay and Melbourne, it's a tropical storm warning, but in Titusville, it's a hurricane warning. Same for Orlando, same for Sanford, Deltona, Daytona Beach. Leesburg, a tropical storm warning. Ocala, a tropical storm warning. And then further north, we've got Gainesville, Lake City, tropical storm warnings. Jacksonville, hurricane warning. Waycross, a tropical storm warning. Hinesville, a hurricane warning. Savannah, the same. Vidalia, inland in Georgia, is a tropical storm warning. Statesboro as well. Sylvania, Allendale, Walterboro, and Somerville also under those tropical storm warnings. And the hurricane warning for, if I didn't mention Savannah already, Beaufort as well, Charleston, and Moncks Corner, I think it is. And now it's further on the coast as well. So we've got more hurricane warnings now for Georgetown, Myrtle Beach, Conway, Southport, Wilmington, and Burgore, and tropical storm warnings for Jacksonville, North Carolina, Morehead City, New Bern, I believe it is, and Nags Head further on the Outer Banks. The Outer Banks under a tropical storm warning as well, don't forget. I want to read out a lot of flood warnings that are already occurring in the Carolinas right now. Listen up if you're in that area. A flood warning has been issued in the following rivers: Cape Fear at William O. Husk Lock and Dam 3 affecting Bladen County, Cape Fear at Elizabethtown affecting Bladen County, Northeast Cape Fear near Burgore affecting Pender County, Little PD at Gallivant's Ferry affecting Dillon, Horry and Marion counties, Wackamore at Conway affecting Horry County, Great PD at PD affecting Marion and Florence counties, Black Creek at Quinby affecting Darlington and Florence counties, Lynches at Effingham affecting Florence County, and Black at Kingstree affecting Williamsburg County. That's forecast flooding, major severity forecast for the Lumber near Lumberton affecting Robeson County. So, flood warnings for all those areas that I read out, and I'm just checking to see whether there's any more, but it's just reiterating the same information there. So, and Little River, the National Weather Service in Raleigh has issued a flood warning for the Little River at Manchester affecting Cumberland County. 4 to 6 inches of rain expected there. The river is already above normal. So that's another one there as well. So I wanted to read those out, and I'm just verifying that I've gotten to all of them, and I don't want to miss any out. But those are all the flood warnings. There's flash flood watches for pretty much the whole area, the whole states extending halfway inland. I'm just trying to find anything that I've not read out. And some obviously will bring you the flood warnings down in Florida as well that are still in effect. There's a few, I believe, and obviously a serious event could be unfolding near Daytona Beach. But the flood warning was cancelled earlier for the Elafia River at Lithia, the Peace River at Zofro Springs, the Peace River at Arcadia, and Horse Creek near Arcadia. And the flood warning has been extended until Monday afternoon for the Miaka River at Miaka River State Park, I thought there was going to be more then, but it's just that. There must be more. Yes, so flood warning for St. Johns County, Eastern Putnam County, Flagler County and Eastern Clay County until 4:45 p.m. today. Some locations that will experience flooding include Palm Coast, St. Augustine, Green Cove Springs, Flagler Beach, Burnell, Crescent City, Hastings, Andalusia, Fruit Cove and East Palatka. And as you can see on the radar, more heavy rain occurring for all those areas. Keep eyes on the St. Johns River as well. I think at the moment it is at 4.9 feet. Is it in feet? 4.9 feet is the stage of the river right now. Flood stage of the St. Johns River. This is at above lake, sorry. Which is under a flood warning for minor flooding. Just to read this one out, 4.9 feet there right now. The flood stage is 8.5, and at 9.5 it will affect homes. There must be one affecting the other area that was under the warning as well. I'm just trying to find it right now. Again, the St. Johns River near Dealand, minor flooding is forecast. The flood stage there is 4.2 feet. It's currently at 2.8. And here we are. This is the one I was worried about. The one at Astor. Minor flooding is occurring and major flooding is forecast. Right now, the flood stage for Astor is 2.8. It's currently at 3.0 feet, and it's expected to get to 3.2. And at 4.5 feet, major flooding occurs to homes and businesses along the river. In fact, no, it's expected to get to 4.6 this afternoon, and then fall slowly over the weekend. So it's expected to get to 4.6 feet, and it could cause major flooding to homes and businesses, and they usually get these predictions not too far wrong. So could be significant problems along the St. Johns River. 11:23, let's get some comments if we have any. Let's take a look. Just looking now. More questions. Are there any levees or power stations under threat? Does anyone know? I personally don't know, but I've not heard anything to that effect yet. I know that we have some people monitoring the wires for me away from the stream, and I just want to read out some stuff that they've been writing to me from the city of Jacksonville. In addition to the Legends Center, 3 shelters are at capacity. Twin Lakes, Atlantic Coast, Twin Lakes ES, I'm guessing that might be elementary school. Atlantic Coast HS, I'm assuming it's high school. And Landmark MS, I'm assuming it's middle school. All 3. And also just trying to... so to read out Ocean Way ES, I assume that is elementary school, but might be wrong. 12555 Gillespie Avenue. General population only. Chimney Lakes ES and Mandarin MS have available space, if you're wondering. So that's some news. The text was a little bit confusing, but we got there. And I'm just looking at everything else right now. And nothing else, it would appear, at this stage. So there's the storm right now on the radar imagery, and might be sounding slightly like a broken record, but there's the latest. The storm has winds of 120 miles per hour still. Expected to weaken slowly. Minimum pressure is 947 millibars, and it's moving north-northwest. Not likely to make a landfall, but the conditions, believe me, are going to be felt very soon if Daytona Beach is now reporting flooding, which they are apparently. If you're curious about the new National Hurricane Center's forecast track and you've not seen it yet, it's interesting, I have to say, and I'm going to bring it to you now. There's the latest forecast track. The National Hurricane Center predicting this. again, that loop is very much there. So in 12 hours time, at 8 p.m. is that first major hurricane dot, and that's just off the border of Georgia, out to sea by about maybe 30 or 40 miles. Winds of 115 miles per hour at that point. 8 a.m. Saturday, you can see the hurricane marker there, just on the coast of South Carolina. 100-mile-an-hour winds at that point, I believe. Whether it makes landfall there or not, it's really close to call. And then at 8 p.m. just off the coast of North Carolina, you can see why they've issued a hurricane warning there and that hurricane watch. By Sunday, it'll be moving away from the coast. Don't forget, it can still move anywhere inside that white area of the cone. That's the center of the storm. The eye can move anywhere within the white area of that cone. Then as we get to Tuesday and Wednesday, the threat looks to be diminishing. As you can see, weakening to a depression near the Bahamas is what it's anticipating. But that's way too early to say what exactly it will do by Tuesday and Wednesday. But right now, there's the latest forecast track, and that's what the storm is doing. Let's see if there's anything that we can comment on the latest infrared satellite imagery. And I have to say, it looks like it's losing its steam. You can see how the black areas there showing the most intense parts of the storm are fading fast. And the eye is barely discernible at all. It's much more discernible on radar, but even on radar it's starting to come apart a little bit, it would seem. But still, a major hurricane right now with winds of 120 miles per hour that could be seen. Could be seeing 100-mile-an-hour wind gusts in some places, certainly hurricane force. And it could spawn tornadoes, as we've been seeing. There was a tornado warning in the last hour, and it could also bring, and it will bring flooding to the eastern coast of Florida. It's expected now, and it will probably, it is indeed occurring in some places, and the storm surge is occurring on Daytona Beach. So there's the storm, and it's continuing to hug the coast of Florida right now. I'm going to take a short moment. Whilst I'm doing that, I'll pick up more comments and bring to you any news as I take a look at it, and if there's any breaking news, I'll let you know at any time, as soon as it becomes knowledge to me. The tornado warning is no longer in effect, but watch out for the coast near Savannah and Hinesville now in Georgia, because there is some inclement weather getting in there right now. I'll be back with you in just a moment. So I just want to bring you one or two other warnings or advisories out there as well. Less severe warnings right now, just for those who are curious. Augusta in Georgia is under a wind advisory. Not a hurricane warning or anything like that, but it's a wind advisory. The flash flood watches extend as far north as... where's that? I shouldn't have said it if I didn't know where it was. Wadesboro in North Carolina. I think it's Sanford, but there might be another letter. The text is so small it's impossible to read for sure. It is Sanford. Extends as far north as there. Goldsboro under the flash flood watch. Talking about North Carolina here. I believe it's North Carolina. And further to the east and all along the Outer Banks under some flooding concerns, and further north extending into southernmost Virginia as well. There are some flash flood watches, including in Virginia Beach and Norfolk. And also a gale watch for parts of the river inlets there as well, in case you wanted to know about this. A gale watch for James River, from the James River Bridge to Hampton Roads Bridge Tunnel. Chesapeake Bay from Smith Point to Windmill Point. And from Windmill Point to New Point Comfort, as far as I'm aware. Gale watch for those areas as well. But until there's other ones, okay, we'll pick up some comments now. Let's see what we've got, if anything. Again, I don't really know about whether there are any power stations or levee structures that are in danger. I don't know what the Florida power grid looks like, but if anyone does know and wants to bring some news to me, then I'm right here. If you want to bring it in on the comments. Let's see if we've got any updated power outage information at this hour. The power outages are as follows. In Miami-Dade County, nearly 5,000, so it's slowly being restored. Broward County, 5,000, so likewise starting to get restored. Palm Beach County, 43,000 customers without power, still a high number. Martin County, it's 44,000, that's just less than half, and that's going down slowly. St. Lucie County, it's 41,000, that's going up a little bit. That is a third of the customers. Indian River County, 38,000, that's more than half. In Brevard County, it's 186,000, that's around 60%. In Volusia County, it's 157,000, that is around... let's see, that is about 85% of customers without power now in Volusia County. 39,000 without power in Flagler County, that would be around 60 or 70%. Further north, St. Johns County, 28,000 without power, that's getting up towards a third. And other locations, Putnam County, 5,000, that's a quarter of the customers. Seminole County, 16,000, and that is all for the large amounts of power outages. There are sporadic, very isolated outages elsewhere, but that's the latest in terms of the power situation. If you want news on the traffic scenario, I can give that to you right now as well. If anyone's travelling, it looks like roads are back to normal, or getting back to normal, at least on Interstate 95, looking fine, south of Vero Beach, all the way to the end at Miami. Further north, there's a little area of the road that appears to me to be closed. I still can't confirm that, or whether it's just standstill traffic, but I doubt they've been standing still for half a day, but you never know. But I think the road is closed north of Vero Beach. In any case, avoid. And further north, around Melbourne, not looking too bad, but there could be some issues near Cocoa by the looks of things on I-95, and Route 528 as well, between Cocoa and the Orlando area. Look, there's a small area that may be blocked off as well, near nowhere in particular, but it's on the Cocoa side, if you get my drift. Further north of Titusville, it's looking bad. I don't know whether we've got any traffic cameras that I can look at right now and let you know what the scenario is, and might be able to tell us more about the weather conditions there as well. But parts of I-95 are looking not good north of Titusville, according to this. And at Daytona Beach, it's not looking good there either, obviously on more than one front, but the traffic situation is not looking good on the major routes either. Jacksonville seems to be getting increasingly clogged up. They've closed the I-295 bridge over St. John's River and Mill Cove. Elsewhere in Jacksonville, traffic appears to be building up, so the storm is on its way, and don't leave the house or wherever you are unless you definitely have to, as a matter of essentialness. I've made up a new word. But if you're home or somewhere safe, stay put in Jacksonville and the area, because it could be a long day there. You saw what the Jacksonville beach webcam looked like not long ago. Very rough, and it's only going to get worse. And the reports of the flooding already occurring at Daytona Beach and St. Johns River could have some serious issues over the coming hours. Let's see what else we have right now. Barbara asks whether the storm is falling apart. Well, look at that right now, and it's not looking as good as it did in terms of the storm's intensity, speaking from a meteorological point of view. The storm appears to be weakening, according to what we're seeing on the infrared satellite imagery. Let's try and get some visible imagery as well of that, so we can take a look at the latest. We can actually see what the storm looks like as if it were with our own eyes, and I'll bring it to you momentarily. You have to bear with me whilst I'm alone here, bringing you the coverage. This should be up to date. There it is. That's what the storm looks like in daylight right now, and you can see the bands moving in to the Jacksonville area, and you know, anywhere south of Lake Okeechobee, draw a line east to west, anywhere south of that it looks like you're okay, but further north it's still a severe situation. Overnight they reported wind gusts of 100 miles an hour along Cape Canaveral, and I believe Daytona Beach is undergoing flooding right now. Of course, bad news in Haiti as well, obviously, with the storm believed to have killed well over 500 in Haiti. That would make Matthew the deadliest Atlantic hurricane in some time. I don't even know how long it's been since we had a storm as deadly as this. Put it this way, it's deadlier than all of the hurricanes that occurred in 2015, 2014 and 2013 combined, and it's higher than what we had in 2012, 2011, 2010, the whole seasons these are, 2009, and you have to go back to 2008 until you had a full season, never mind an individual storm, that had more fatalities than Matthew. And I fear that the situation is going to only get worse in terms of numbers from Haiti as time goes on. The deadliest storm in 2008 was Hannah, and Hannah affected that region as well. It killed 532, and that was only a tropical storm. It stalled over Haiti. This was a Category 4 hurricane when it made landfall in Haiti, and it could be a very severe situation. I think you'd have to go back to 2005 then for a storm that caused more fatalities than Matthew so far on the current data, and that could get worse over time. Let's bring back to you the latest radar if we've got it. Here it is. So that's what the radar is looking like right now. As you can see, there was some harsh weather moving through Jacksonville recently. Looks like they're in a little bit of a better slot right now, but there's more on the way, and this is just the beginning for that area. There is still that band to the south there that will be affecting Cape Canaveral and the area around there, Titusville, Cocoa, those areas could be getting hit by what might be their last significant band of rain. And then inland, Orlando, they're probably getting hit by their last significant band of rain, maybe. And further west, places like Ocala and Gainesville, similarly. Well, I don't know. It could still get worse in those locations. They might still get hit by another band yet. But Orlando and the Cape Canaveral area might be starting to get closer towards being in the clear, but they're not there yet. Daytona Beach is right next to the storm. And I gotta say, that storm in those last few frames appears to have moved closer to land. Unless it's misleading us. It would appear that the eye has moved a bit closer to land. But the eye itself becoming less well defined on that imagery, and the southern eye wall not looking too great at all. Speaking from a meteorological perspective. Okay, I think we've got some news. Yeah, just a note from the city of Jacksonville saying that hurricane conditions are expected in 3 to 6 hours. Pretty much what we've been saying so far. And as you can see, rainfall moving into the Georgia coast, the South Carolina coast, and those flooding concerns are going to mount in those areas in the very, very near future. Well, right now, let's tell you about anything else that's going on across the US very briefly, because there's not much else going on really. There's a lot of windiness going on in the southwestern Alaskan islands. Freeze warning for a large part of North Dakota, and also a frost advisory occurring across central Minnesota into northwestern Wisconsin. There's also some flood advisories, flooding concerns for southeastern Kansas, especially after those severe thunderstorms that passed through there last night, and lots of tornado warnings resulted. And I think there's also some flood advisories for North Carolina further towards the west along the border. I'll just read this one out. A flood advisory for Central Union County. Urban and small stream flood advisory for poor drainage areas. In case you're in that area, that's the latest from there. And more from Twitter. Official information from the South Carolina Emergency Management. Life-threatening storm surge of over 8 feet expected on the South Carolina coast. Coastal residents should move inland, and they're saying dire for barrier islands in all caps. Don't know if that stands for anything, but I assume they just mean the word dire. And it will be, most likely, along those coastal areas. There will be huge storm surges. And I've just got some news here. There is some news. I don't know if this is, I don't know if this has just happened, but I'll just point them out anyway. I don't know if this was already the case, but tropical storm warnings are in effect for Whiteville, Lumberton, Darlington, Florence, and Kingstree, I believe it is, in North Carolina, and I'm not sure where the border is there, whether that is South Carolina as well. But all those locations that I mentioned are under tropical storm warnings. It appeared on my screen as if they've just been initiated, but if they have already been initiated, then pardon me, but they are in effect nonetheless. Special marine warning still remains in effect along the coast off Savannah and Hinesville, because there's significant weather heading in there, and they could turn into maybe an isolated tornado warning perhaps if some rotation is spotted, but we'll keep you up to date on that. There's been one tornado warning so far today, and that occurred right on the Florida-Georgia borderline. There's been no tornado reports yet. If you've got any questions for us, start your message with Force 13 in the comments section. You can also follow us on Facebook and Twitter, search Force13, all in text. You can also add Fool13 on Skype, that's FOOL13, if you'd like to join us. And you can also join our chat rooms that we have on there too. It's a quarter to 12 on the East Coast. I'm stumbling over my words briefly. My name's Nathan Foy. I'm bringing you the latest on Matthew, as I have been doing for the last almost 2 hours. There will come a time at some point today where we're going to be taking a break. I don't know when that's going to occur, but we will be taking a break at some point. A flood warning has been issued for Volusia County until 2:30 p.m. I'm not sure if that's new or not, but just to be sure, there is a flood warning. I'll go over the latest flood warnings shortly. And Lil Folly wants to know the current coordinates. So I did have those coordinates. You can see on the screen there, as of 11 a.m. it was 29.4 north, 80.5 degrees west. That must still be the latest, so there's the coordinates. Sparrow says, I heard that if the power goes out, your car can be an emergency power source. Is that true? I guess so. The car battery is powered by the fuel, and the fuel powers the battery or whatever else. You know, they work hand in hand, don't they? As long as your car has fuel, it can have power, and it can work as some sort of emergency power source. Final Cut tells me the power has officially gone out in Deltona. But yeah, so referring to cars, as long as you got fuel and as long as your battery's working, yes, the power will stay on in your car, as long as you don't go underwater. In the meantime, the latest from the storm, you can see the radar imagery, some bad stuff getting through the Jacksonville area, or has been recently. And I don't really feel as much else that I can say right now. So I'll reiterate the warnings. I'll go through all the locations that are under warnings right now. No, first of all, we'll go through the flooding information, because the flood warning area has been extended by the looks of things. So, flood warnings. Volusia County until 2:30 p.m. That has happened in the last 5 minutes. I'll read the whole thing out. At 11:35 a.m., Doppler radar indicated widespread heavy rain on the west side of Hurricane Matthew that will cause flooding over much of Volusia County. Several inches of rain have fallen across the county since the onset of the hurricane. Some ground reports in Volusia include 3 to 4 inches in D-Land and 2 to 3 inches in Ormond Beach. Radar estimates most of the county has received at least 3 inches of rain, with more to come, according to radar. Some locations that will experience flooding include Deltona, Daytona Beach, Port Orange, Ormond Beach, and D-Land. Stay away or be swept away is what it says. Riverbanks and culverts can become unstable and unsafe. A flood warning means that flooding is imminent or occurring. All interested parties should take necessary precautions immediately. Meanwhile, a river flood warning remains in effect for the St. Johns River at Geneva, D-Land, and Astor. It's brought locally heavy rainfall amounts of 4 to 7 inches in the St. Johns River Basin from Lake Harney to Lake George. The runoff from the rain will raise water levels along the St. Johns into early next week. Strong northwest to north winds into early afternoon will cause substantial rises on the St. Johns River at Astor into mid-afternoon, with water levels decreasing late in the afternoon and evening as winds become west to southwest. The water from Lake George will inhibit flow and increase water levels on the south end of the lake, also at the Astor location along the St. Johns River. They're expecting the flooding at, where are we here? The St. Johns River near above Lake Harney near Geneva. Minor flooding is forecast. The current stage is 4.9 feet. The flood stage is 8.5. And then again, minor flooding expected near D-Land on the St. Johns River. minor flooding is occurring. A major flooding is forecast at the St John's River near Astor. It's currently 3 feet. The stage, the observed stage, the flood stage is 2.8. It's forecast to get to 4.6, which is above the major flooding threshold, and that will apply to the homes and businesses along the river. There will be flooding there this afternoon. And then the wide areas: St Johns County, Eastern Putnam County, Flagler County and Eastern Clay County under a flood warning. As of right now, the storm remains just off the shore, and of course don't forget the flood warning has been cancelled for the Alafia River, Peace River and Horse Creek. Those areas were further south. And also a note for the flood warning, which has been extended for the following rivers: the Miaka River State Park and Peace River at Bartow. They're still under flood warnings. Let's see, that they're still in effect. At 8 AM Friday, the stage for the Peace River at Bartow was 7.6 feet. The flood stage is 8, and it's expected to be above flood stage by after midnight tomorrow, so still occurring. And this crest compares to a previous crest of 8 feet on August 18th, 2015. Okay, well, going to take some questions quickly. Port Orange Waterside Water Treatment Plant, so stay out of the water. That is something that Lee Fraser has told me. Yes, obviously if it does interfere with the water treatment facilities, then that could produce a nasty situation too. That's pretty much all the questions right now, and we'll bring you more information coming up at the end of this hour. It's 11:52. I'm going to take a break. We'll be back shortly. This is Force 13 live, and we'll have more for you at 12 o'clock with a position update from the National Hurricane Center. Stay tuned.